Steve Jobs is a name synonymous with innovation, creativity, and transformation. Most people know him as the co-founder of Apple, the man who revolutionized personal computing, smartphones, and digital entertainment. But behind the public image lies a complex and fascinating individual whose journey was filled with triumphs, failures, and lesser-known stories that shaped him into the visionary we remember today. In this video, we will dive deep into 5 intriguing aspects of Steve Jobs' life that most people don't know about. Stories that reveal his relentless ambition, unconventional leadership, and the moments that defined his success. 1. The unlikely beginnings, from adoption to Apple's garage. Steve Jobs was born in 1955 to a young unmarried couple, Joanne Schiebel and Abdul Fattah Jandali. Unable to raise him, they gave him up for adoption to Paul and Clara Jobs, a middle-class couple who promised to provide him with a good education. This moment would later shape his views on destiny and control over one's own future. Despite his parents' efforts, Jobs showed little interest in traditional education. He was more intrigued by electronics and design, often tinkering with gadgets in the family garage. In high school, he met Steve Wozniak, a fellow tech enthusiast who would later become the co-founder of Apple. Together, they built their first computer, the Apple I, in Jobs' parents' garage. Few know that Jobs himself wasn't an engineer. His strength lay in vision, design, and persuasion, which he used to sell the idea of a personal computer to the world. What many don't realize is that Apple's first product wasn't the Macintosh. It was a homemade computer that came without a keyboard, case, or monitor. Jobs convinced a local computer store, the Byte Shop, to buy 50 units even before they had built them. This was a classic Jobs move, selling the vision before the product even existed. The dark years, being fired from his own company. One of the most dramatic moments in Jobs' life was his ousting from Apple in 1985. Many know that he was forced out, but few understand why and how this period became crucial for his later success. As Apple grew, Jobs' perfectionism and intensity created conflicts within the company. He clashed with CEO John Sculley, the man he had personally recruited from Pepsi. Their disagreements led to a boardroom coup, where Jobs found himself on the losing end. At just 30 years old, the man who built Apple was fired from his own company. Most people would have given up, but Jobs saw this setback as an opportunity. He later reflected, saying, "It turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me." This period led him to found Next, a computer company focused on high-end workstations. Though Next wasn't commercially successful, its technology became the foundation for Apple's macOS when the company acquired it years later. Jobs also bought a small computer graphics division from Lucasfilm, renaming it Pixar. Against all odds, he transformed it into the world's leading animation studio. When Toy Story became a massive success in 1995, Jobs had officially reinvented himself as a leader in both the tech and entertainment industries. 3. The art of selling dreams, how Jobs mastered persuasion. If there's one thing Jobs excelled at beyond technology, it was storytelling. His ability to craft a compelling narrative was one of his greatest weapons. Whether launching a new product or recruiting talent, he sold ideas, not just devices. One of the most legendary examples of Jobs' persuasion was when he convinced John Sculley to leave his high-paying position at Pepsi to join Apple. Jobs asked him a single, unforgettable question. "Do you want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life, or do you want to come with me and change the world?" That moment encapsulated Jobs' philosophy. People don't buy products. They buy into a vision. Another little-known example was when he personally pitched the iPhone idea to AT&T executives. Jobs didn't bring a team of engineers or spreadsheets of data. Instead, he showed them a prototype and painted a picture of a future where everyone would carry a tiny computer in their pocket. The pitch was so powerful that AT&T agreed to an exclusive partnership without even fully understanding the technology behind it. His product launches became legendary, creating an almost cult-like following. The iconic "one more thing" phrase he used in keynotes became synonymous with surprise and innovation. People didn't just watch Jobs, they experienced his presentations. The obsession with perfection, why Jobs was so demanding. Jobs was notorious for his obsession with detail. He would reject prototypes if they weren't perfect, push engineers to redesign products multiple times, and demand elegance even in parts of a device that customers would never see. One famous example was during the development of the first iPhone. Engineers had designed a prototype with a plastic screen, but Jobs insisted on using glass, despite industry experts warning it was impractical. He was right. Glass screens became a standard in all modern smartphones. Another story involves the first Macintosh. Jobs wanted the circuit board inside the Mac to be beautiful, even though no one would ever open the machine to see it. An engineer questioned why it mattered, to which Jobs replied, "When you're a carpenter making a beautiful chest of drawers, you don't use cheap wood on the back. Even though nobody will see it, you'll know it's there, and that makes all the difference." His perfectionism extended to Apple's stores, the packaging of products, and even the shade of white used in product designs. This relentless pursuit of perfection is why Apple's products feel almost magical. The final chapter, his legacy and last words. Jobs' final years were spent battling pancreatic cancer. Despite his illness, he continued to work on Apple's most transformative products, including the iPhone 4, iPad, and MacBook Air. One of the most emotional moments in his later life was his 2005 Stanford commencement speech, where he spoke about life, death, and passion. He famously said, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life." On October 5, 2011, Steve Jobs passed away at the age of 56. His last words, as reported by his family, were simply, "Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow." His influence extended far beyond Apple. He reshaped industries, transformed how we interact with technology, and inspired millions to think differently. Even today, his philosophies on innovation, design, and leadership remain timeless. Steve Jobs' journey wasn't just about creating Apple. It was about redefining how we see technology and ourselves. His story is one of resilience, vision, and an unshakable belief in the impossible. Whether you admire him or critique him, one thing is certain: Steve Jobs changed the world. And that is the untold story of one of the greatest visionaries of our time.